What's the secret to building up your self-confidence when you don't feel like you have anything to be confident about? Hey everyone, Harris O'Malley from DrNerdLove.com. In 2009, scientists conducted an experiment involving the use of deodorant. They took a group of men, some of whom were given a spray-on deodorant with a fragrance added, while others were given a placebo. They then had their photos taken and were filmed describing themselves in short video clips. Shortly afterwards, women were asked to rank the attractiveness of the men, first based on the photos, and then based on the video. Now, statistically, there wasn't really any real noticeable variance in the attractiveness in the photos. They were all more or less the same level of attractive. But there was a very noticeable difference in the videos. The men who had gotten the deodorant with a fragrance were consistently ranked more attractive by women. Now, they hadn't done anything between when they had the photos taken and when they recorded the video clips. The only difference was that the men who had the fragrance had more self-confidence. When it comes to improving your love life, be more confident is generally the most commonly given advice. It's right up there with just be yourself. Everyone and their dog will tell you that confidence is sexy. And in fairness, they're right. Confidence is an incredibly important part of attraction, and if you don't have it, it will hold you back. The problem is that nobody tells you how to get that confidence. Now, it's really easy to talk about being confident when you already feel it. But when you don't have that strong sense of self-confidence, being told, hey, you want to be more attractive, just be more confident, is about as useful as saying, hey, it's really easy to fly, all you have to do is throw yourself at the ground and miss. And to make things more complicated, the reason why a lot of people have a hard time building up their confidence is that people tend to not understand what confidence actually is. A lot of people treat confidence as something that's based off of your accomplishments and your achievements, things that you can point to and say, see, this is why I'm allowed to be confident. This is a classic example of external validation. You are looking to things outside of yourself that you think other people find valuable as a way of justifying whether or not you should feel confident in yourself. Now, this is a bad idea for many reasons, not the least of which being that it makes your sense of confidence incredibly fragile. The first time something goes wrong, especially if it's something you've succeeded at before, and suddenly your sense of confidence is gone, and now you're back feeling lower than a snake's ass in a drainage ditch. And to make matters worse, the fact that you're relying on external validation in order to justify your confidence actually makes it harder to build up your confidence at all. It becomes a catch-22. Your lack of confidence keeps you from doing the things that would let you build your confidence. Here's the thing, confidence, true confidence, isn't about your achievements or what you can or can't do. And it's not a binary. It's not something that either you have or you don't. Confidence is something that you develop. It's a mindset. If we go back to the experiment that I mentioned before, the thing that made these men more confident and thus more attractive was a scent. Something that the women viewing the video couldn't detect. But that scent didn't change anything. That confidence they felt came from within. The deodorant and the fragrance was just Dumbo's magic feather. The confidence they had was there all along. It's just that now they gave themselves permission to unlock it and to feel it. This, incidentally, is why a lot of people have a hard time building up their own confidence. They're spending more time and more effort coming up with reasons why they can't be confident. They haven't had enough sex, or they don't make enough money, or they're not tall enough, or whatever. Confidence isn't found in your accomplishments. It's not in how skilled you are, or what awards you've won, or how much acclaim you've gotten. Neil Armstrong, the man who walked on the moon, doesn't believe that what he did was all that impressive. As far as he was concerned, it was other people who did the praiseworthy work. He was just a guy who went where they told him. This is why confidence isn't in your skills or in what you've done, it's in your mind. Even people who aren't top of the heap can be supremely confident. In fact, let's take a pop culture example with Han Solo. Han is confident to the point of being almost arrogant, yet canonically, He's kind of a fuck up. He's a bad smuggler. He's going around in the Star Wars equivalent of a tricked-out shaggin' wagon, which might have been the tits in 1977, but now is mostly just a rust bucket that only runs half the time. And all of his plans and schemes end up falling apart and biting him in the ass. And yet, for all of that, he practically oozes confidence out of his pores, and that is a huge reason why we as an audience respond to him and why we care about him as a character. You can find your inner Han Solo, your inner scoundrel, and to do that, I have 5 tips for you that you can start right now and start building that unshakable sense of self-confidence. Tip number 1. You want to consider how you're presenting yourself to the world around you. If there is one thing that men with low self-confidence tend to have in common, it's in their presentation and in their appearance. People with low self-confidence tend to do things like dress badly in ill-fitting clothes that just don't look right. They tend to be big and baggy because it's a way of hiding themselves. They tend to fold in on themselves and hunch over because they're trying to not be noticed. They don't feel they have the right to occupy the space that they live in. And all of this becomes self-reinforcing behavior. You look like crap because you're not worth anything, and clearly you're not worth anything because you look like crap. So why bother even putting in the effort? This is why your first step to building that self-confidence is to break the cycle. You need to dress well in clothes that actually fit, that have some style, and make you feel like a bit of a sexy badass. Now, if you don't know how to find your style or how your clothes are supposed to fit and how to dress well, I have a guide for you in the show notes. Go ahead, pause the video, go check it out, and then come back. It's totally free. The way that you dress is important because how you dress directly affects how you feel. It's called enclothed cognition. Dressing like a slob makes you feel like a slob. Dressing like a sexy badass actually makes you feel a little sexy and a little badass. Think of it this way. By changing the clothes that you wear, you are, in a way, embodying a character. It's just that this character is you, the future you. So you are dressing the way that you would if you were more confident, if you were bolder, if you felt more assured of yourself. Instead of waiting for that day in the future, you're doing it now. It's a crazy thing, it doesn't feel like it should work, but it totally does. For the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, it feels weird. It's like you're putting on a costume. It's like you are putting on this false front that other people can see through. But if you grit your teeth and make it through that initial weirdness and go about your day, it starts to feel more natural, and you start to realize, hey, I feel kind of awesome. That's when you realize it's not the clothes, it's you. You've just given yourself permission to be the person you've always wanted to be. So, straight talk, I'm 5'8". I'm a little below average height for an American male. And back in the days when I was more insecure about my height, I got me a pair of boots, these New Rocks that were huge. They actually gave me 2 extra inches of height. I called them my Frankenstein boots. And when I went out on the town wearing these things, I was a goddamn monster. My confidence was through the roof. But, like with the deodorant experiment, the shoes honestly had nothing to do with it. It was a mind hack. It was just unlocking confidence that I already had and just gave myself permission to feel. And it's a good thing that I learned that I could feel this way without wearing the shoes because, hey, those had to come off eventually. And believe me, women noticed when they were suddenly eye level with me when they weren't before. The same thing applies with your body language. Folded in body language when you're hunched in on yourself tells the world that you have no confidence. You don't feel like you have the right to actually occupy physical space. So what you want to do is you want to stand up straight, let your spine lengthen as though you've got a cord coming from the top of your head that's gently pulling you upwards. You want to pull your shoulders back, not to military parade rest, but back so you can let your chest expand. Let yourself take up a little bit of space. Spread out just a little bit. Not like you need to air out your balls, but just taking up a little bit more space. This is all behavior that you would do if you felt more confident, so you're just doing it now instead of waiting for permission to do so. Like I said, this is just a mind hack. All you're doing is unlocking the potential that was already there, but this is why fake it till you make it works. You are giving yourself access to build upon the confidence that you already had, you just didn't believe you had a right to. Tip number 2, you're gonna focus on other people, not just giving them your attention, but being genuine with them. Now, I've talked about this in previous episodes, but one mistake a lot of men make when they're meeting someone new, whether it's a potential new employer, a new friend, or someone they have a romantic or sexual interest in, is that they put too much time and effort into trying to impress them. This is a mistake. Trying to impress someone and make yourself look amazing actually builds a wall between you and the other person. It keeps you from connecting. What you're doing is you're putting up this false front that you hope is what they're looking for, and then you end up feeling weird. You feel fake, and you're just waiting for them to see through it and recognize that you're not all of these awesome things. On the other hand, if you are genuine with them, if you are your authentic self and focus on connecting, you end up creating an incredibly powerful bond. Like I've said before, when we give someone our genuine full attention and we let them know that we want to know what they have to say, when we let them know that we think that their jokes are funny, we make them feel amazing. They feel appreciated. They feel validated. And that good feeling means that they want to spend more time with you. And it also makes you feel great because you're coming out of this interaction that went amazingly well and everybody had this great positive experience. Now you're making new friends. You're making these incredibly powerful, strong relationships, some of which are going to be romantic and sexual. And that positive energy just draws people in and it provides this great jolt to you and helps you realize, hey, you're actually pretty awesome. Tip number 3. This one's a little more philosophical. What you need to do is challenge yourself and challenge your fears. And you do that by embracing failure. The mistake that people tend to make is the idea that confidence comes from what you do. And while that's close, it's not quite right. Competence isn't confidence. It's more accurate to say that confidence leads to competence, and competence reinforces confidence. That took me 5 tries to get right, just FYI. The formula for confidence is simple. Fear plus survival equals confidence. Confidence isn't in knowing that you can do something. Confidence is in doing something. Something that challenges you, something that terrifies you, something that you very well may fail at, and surviving, even if you fail. The fear of failure, and more accurately, the consequences of that failure, are behind so many things that drain our self-confidence. Approach anxiety, for example, isn't just the fear of getting rejected, it's the fear of getting rejected and being humiliated for it. Stage fright and performance anxiety isn't just about a fear of making a mistake, it's a fear of making a mistake and then being shamed. And the problem is, that fear prevents you from testing your limits and pushing at your boundaries. And those consequences that you're picturing in your head aren't real. They are a warped, funhouse mirror, Looney Tunes version of reality that is so far from what will actually happen that it's almost ludicrous. Now, I have failed a lot in my life, and I have made mistakes, whether it is telling a joke during a panel that went over like a lead balloon, completely forgetting my place when I was giving a talk, or in many times going up and approaching someone who just wasn't interested in me. Here is what those consequences actually look like. Seriously, most people aren't going to react or care, for that matter. They're not going to follow you around, pointing and laughing and telling everybody how awful you were. They're going to be going about their own lives, and odds are, forget that you were even there as soon as you exit their eye line. Once you realize that messing up isn't going to destroy you, you're actually freeing yourself to improve. You learn from that failure and you apply those lessons so that you'll do better next time, and then you improve and you grow. And as you improve, you become more confident, not because of your skills, although those will get better, but because you know that you can fail and bounce back from it stronger than before. You will be able to accomplish more because you've seen the worst that could happen, and frankly, the worst that could happen isn't that bad. Tip number 4, you are going to celebrate your progress and what you can achieve. Now, I know earlier I said that basing your self-confidence on your accomplishments is a bad idea, but what you're going to do instead is celebrate your ability to reach those accomplishments. Whether you're trying to do something as concrete as run your first 10K or as abstract as improve your social skills, keeping track of your progress is a massive boost to your confidence and self-esteem. By tracking your progress, hey, this week you shaved a minute off your run, or you talked to 5 people and you got 1 phone number, you are showing how much you're capable of achieving and how far you have come from when you started. One of the reasons why a lot of guys fail at reaching their goals is because they focus like a laser on the finish line. As a result, they just see how far they are from the end and think, well, I should have been there already, and now they feel like a loser. But when you are able to look at that record and see all that you have done, things that you have not been able to do previously, you're no longer looking at the end goal and thinking, I will never get there. You're looking at it and thinking, okay, I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna get there. Tip number 5. This is possibly the most important tip that I can give you. You need to pay attention to who you spend time with, who you're surrounding yourself with, and what they're doing to your self-confidence. One of the reasons why a lot of people have low self-confidence has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the fact that they're surrounded by assholes. Now, I've touched on this briefly in my episode about incels, but the people that you spend your time with, in person or online, have a direct effect on how you feel about yourself. It is incredibly difficult, verging on nearly impossible, to improve when you have negative, toxic people in your life. They're like crabs in a bucket. Every time you start to climb out, they grab you and pull you back in. They don't want you to leave. They want you to be down on their level. Toxic, negative people in your life will, frankly, shit on everything that you do. They're going to tell you that what you're trying to do is impossible, that there is no point to it, that you can't do it, and you're stupid for trying, and every time you feel slightly better about yourself, they are going to ruin it for you and make you feel awful again. And it doesn't matter if the negativity isn't directed at you specifically. Even when that anger and negativity and toxicity is directed at others, women, immigrants, LGBTQ people, it still creates a toxic atmosphere that drains away your energy and your motivation and makes you feel like shit, even if you're not the target. Toxic people are the cancerous tumor on your life, and you need to cut them out. Positive people, on the other hand, make you better. Surrounding yourself with people that you know support you and care for you and have your back is incredibly important. They're not there to be yes men. They're there to help push you to the levels that they know you can achieve. They're there to provide you with accountability so that you don't just half-ass things. And when you're stuck in a rut, when you feel like you can't move it forward anymore, when your motivation is gone, they are there to provide the boot to ass that you need. And most importantly, they're going to be the ones cheering you on and telling you how awesome you are and reminding you that they believe in you and that they know that you can do this. Knowing that your team is there to back you up is a huge part of having powerful self-confidence. Remember, nobody's born with supreme confidence. Yeah, some people actually get there without trying very hard, but even more are faking it. And still more get there through a lot of work and effort. Everybody, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter what you haven't done, has the potential to build unshakable self-confidence. The potential is already there within you. You just have to learn how to unlock it. Hey, thanks for checking out my latest video. So you've heard from me, now I want to hear from you. What are the things that you do that really boost your confidence, that make you feel like the sexy badass you know you can be? Tell me all about it in the comments below, and if you have a short dating question or a topic you'd like to hear more about on here, then hit me up. You can share that in the comments as well, or you can send that to me at doc@drnerdlove.com with "for YouTube" in the subject header. And if you want to get busy building those social skills, then now's a great time to check out some of my books. I especially recommend New Game Plus, The Geek's Guide to Love, Sex, and Dating. It's the social skills and dating manual that we all wish we had gotten. Links to buy it are in the show notes below, and if you do check it out, then do me a huge favor and leave a review on Amazon and Goodreads. That is a huge help. Now, if you dug the video, then you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up, let me know. Be sure to share it with all your friends on Twitter and Facebook and any other social media that you're on. But if you find that you're getting a lot out of this, if you find that this has really been helping you and you want to consider supporting the channel, then consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/drnerdlove. Even $1 is a huge help. And honestly, like I say every week, I can't do this without the support of my patrons. So thank you all so very much. Meanwhile, you can find me on Twitter at @DrNerdLove. Join the Facebook page at facebook.com/DrNerdLove. And as always, hit that logo to subscribe, check out my other videos, and I will be back with you next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Later.